What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Chicago Bulls and Memphis Grizzlies game reaction to discuss as the Bulls once again fall very short against a good quality Memphis Grizzlies side as we now extend our losing streak to 4 in a row. And I guess the question is, when is it going to end for the Chicago Bulls, ladies and gentlemen? This was a game that was filled with hard work, of course, except for a few plays that we'll get into later. But more often than not, led to many mistakes, a lot of mistakes, and it led to pretty much a blowout loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now again, their losing streak extends to 4, so I know many people will be frustrated, and I think many people will be asking, when is the next win going to come from? Will it be in the next game against Cleveland? Will it be against the Bucks, or do we have to wait another week until we find the next Chicago Bulls win? What I like to compare this game to, ladies and gentlemen, is a game that, in the end, that we would see last season for the Chicago Bulls. A lot of the problems that we had in last season did occur in today's game, and more specifically with the turnovers. The turnovers was the big talking point for the Chicago Bulls. Again, I think the statistics show why we committed so many turnovers. Memphis is one of the number one, I think, leading team in blocks and steals this season. They're having an incredible stretch of games, and they're playing as a team, ladies and gentlemen. So in the end, they are the ones that are going to keep pushing the tempo, keep on having active hands, and we ended up with a very short-staffed team, a team that might not be accustomed to playing in a certain style compared to what Memphis are doing with a fairly healthier team. And the Chicago Bulls committed so many turnovers, a lot of turnovers that you simply could not help. We ended up trying to play extremely fast when we're not really a team, especially in the half-court set. We're forcing shots, we're playing too fast in the half-court set, leads to turnovers, leads to opportunities. And I thought outside of the first quarter, the Bulls were not very good in this game in total, which again results in the loss, results in the 4-game losing streak. And now just to look at, I guess, a little bit of those individual performances. Again, I'm not going to show the stats because I don't have the stats with me at the moment, but I do want to target out one player for a very poor game today, and he is our starting center, ladies and gentlemen, in Nikola Vucevic. He was very, very bad today, and this is probably the most frustrated game I've seen from him, at least from the way that I feel, in a very long time, because I understand when the shots don't fall, it's not your night. I don't really blame Nikola Vucevic. I don't really have anything to say about his offensive game in today's game. It sucked. It was really bad. But outside of that, we have seen those games few and far between before already this season. It's not a common theme it's not an uncommon theme, I guess you could say, for Vucevic to struggle offensively. No issues offensively, to be honest, because again, I understand you miss shots, you make shots, it depends. He had a great game against Boston where everything fell in. Today, nothing fell in. A lot of easy layups, though, that he should be making. That's the only issue I have offensively. But ladies and gentlemen, his effort level today was extremely poor. And it's also matching up with some of the players that he was up against that made me believe his effort was by far the worst on the team, and his game was by far the worst on the team. He's definitely my must improve for today's game. But he was coming back against Steven Adams, who's on a minutes restriction, ladies and gentlemen. He just came out of protocols himself, played in this game, minutes restriction. But how is Steven Adams outworking Nikola Vucevic when Vucevic has played a lot of games? He is probably the fitter of the two guys, and in the end, he is outworked on the rebounds again. Offensive rebounds, left, right, and center for the Memphis Grizzlies. I know it's not Nikola Vucevic entirely, but it's his matchups that were outworking him every single time. And of course, on the offensive end, when he's falling and he's not making shots, you have to at least put the effort in defensively. That was the biggest critique in the Golden State Warriors game for the whole team. With Vucevic, that's the critique. He's not playing well offensively, but that doesn't mean you don't put the effort in defensively. And that's how I think a lot of the lead ends up getting away from us, is because we didn't put enough effort, and mainly Vucevic, on those offensive rebounds, on guarding the paint and all of that. And that's obviously where Memphis's offense thrives, attacking the paint, and we simply could not get it going, and Vucevic had a bad game because of that. And in the end, he is a very disappointing player, and I'm not going to always be the one to critique every single little thing that the Chicago Bulls do, but certain players do need to be called out for bad games. You can't let it slide just because we still have an incredibly good record, because we're still one of the top teams in the East. There has to be standards here, ladies and gentlemen. The standards need to be shown, and I don't think Vucevic played anywhere near the standard defensively that we expect from him. I understand he's a liability, but the effort has to be there at least, and I definitely think he did not try defensively in today's game. And for him to prove me wrong in that, he's going to have a really strong defensive game in the next time out, because they're going to be playing against 3 7-footers in the starting lineup, most likely against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he has to be the man to step up if we're going to have any chance of beating the Cleveland Cavaliers in the next one, because this was not a great representation of his game or anywhere near what he could do offensively and defensively for a team. He has to do better. And also, just to talk a little bit about other players, I thought DeMar DeRozan struggled in today's game as well. I believe he had 24 points. He led the team in scoring, but it did come at a lot of shots. It did come at the sacrifice of other people's shots as well. And in the end, I feel DeMar DeRozan is very much struggling in this period without Zach LaVine, because the teams are now focused on him. Vucevic is our second leading option on the team, and he has 7 points. You had Kobe White and Ayo clearly and fundamentally outscore Vucevic in today's game, and Vucevic is your second option. So obviously, if he's not stepping up, the focus is going to lie on DeMar, because I think the Memphis Grizzlies will live with Kobe White or Ayo trying to beat them on the floor every single time. If Ayo and Kobe White are taking the shots, most likely Memphis will live with that over DeMar DeRozan facilitating and making his shots as well. He is the key for the Chicago Bulls, and every single team we've seen has double-teamed him off of screens, has double-teamed him as soon as he entered into the mid-range. In the post, he's double-teamed. He's always going to be double-teamed, and I think this is the big indication of how much we miss Lonzo Ball, who's another good perimeter threat that he could dish it out to, but mainly Zach LaVine, who will force teams not to double team DeMar DeRozan. And if they do double team DeMar DeRozan, you've got another person in Zach LaVine that can find his shot as well as facilitate to the floor as well. We really miss Zach LaVine in this game offensively, but again, that is something that hopefully we won't see for too long, and we get to see Zach LaVine return. Memphis did a great job, and this is what Memphis does. This is not an uncommon theme. I think anybody that thought Memphis was going to be an easy game, no matter who was playing, was a little bit naive. Memphis is not the same team that we saw in the preseason. This is a completely different team. They've overhauled their season. Ja Morant is playing at an MVP caliber level, and it's going to be a hard game every single time, fully healthy or not. Of course, ideally, with our team fully healthy, I expect us to be much more closer in this game, and I'd even expect us to win the game. But with the team that we currently have out there on the floor, I don't think many of us expected that we were going to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and that turns out to be the case, ladies and gentlemen. They did a lot of things right. In the end, their scoring was not at its best, prolific best, but we ended up conceding a lot of points in the paint, conceding a lot of offensive rebounds, committing a lot of turnovers, and the two players that you don't leave open on the Memphis Grizzlies ended up getting open shots left, right, and center, and their three-point game got going as well. So the Bulls do have a lot to work on. The Bulls need to look at scouting reports more often, in my opinion, because those are the things that you need to learn coming into the game against Memphis, and that's something I don't think we did. Obviously, the two centers in Jaren Jackson, who did play small ball center at times, and Steven Adams, outworked our centers very, very well. Tony Bradley didn't have much of a chance in this game whatsoever, and Vucevic was extremely disappointing. So I think these are a lot of the ways that the Bulls went wrong in today's game. And all I could say is I'm not surprised that a result like this happened, because I know Memphis are in a very hot streak at the moment, and they're playing at home, and they have a lot of points to prove for their season as well. So they're obviously doing a good job in that area. But obviously, we need to see the Bulls improve from this. We need to find ways to pick up the slack, and hopefully with our next game, again, I believe we're 27-15 right now, the losses are starting to pile up, 4-game losing losing streak, the most we've seen for the Chicago Bulls this season. Hopefully we can pick things up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is our next game, ladies and gentlemen. That is the game to look forward to now. That's where our heads turn, and it's going to be an interesting game. They have beaten us before. They have dominated us before as well, and they are obviously in a situation where they won't have Ricky Rubio in this game, so it is going to be, I guess, a lessened Cleveland Cavaliers team, but we are very, very, very much a weakened Chicago Bulls team. I expect Alonzo to play in this game. I expect, hopefully, to see players like Alex Caruso return in this game as well. Anything else, I think, is a bonus. If Javonte Green returns in this game, that's going to be a big bonus for us. But again, we still have a lot of work to do, and we need to find ways to pick up the slack and to pick up wins where many of us don't see us getting those wins. We need to find ways to win. We need to make sure we keep alive in this season, and we need to make sure that we secure a top seed in the Eastern Conference. The more losses that we suffer, the more chances we give other teams to fight in a spot that we want. And obviously, as a Bulls mentality, as a winning team's mentality, we cannot allow that to happen. If it does happen, you have to make sure you fight like hell to make sure it doesn't. And in the end, if you lose out, if you fall to the second seed, fall to the third seed, even to the fourth seed, whatever the seed we end up falling to after these few losses, you got to fight like hell to get back to it as well. So that's the message I have for the Chicago Bulls. I'm not frustrated. I'm not angry. At the end of the day, you've seen losses already. You've seen 4 losses in a row. All the emotion that you felt against the Golden State Warriors, I didn't feel in this game because I kind of already saw it coming, to be honest. I saw it coming before the game started, and in the end, that's exactly what happened. I don't feel any real emotion towards this game, but hopefully we could see improvements in the next game. That's all I really want to say, and hopefully Bulls basketball can be back, and we can finally start cheering the Chicago Bulls team again, despite this rough patch, despite this rough period. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I will say, most likely, you will not see a game reaction right after the game against the Memphis Grizzlies, against the Cleveland Cavaliers, sorry. I will be traveling back home on that day, so you probably won't see a game reaction until probably around my time, around 2 a.m., which is usually when I upload Chicago Bulls videos normally. That's probably when you will see it. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you in another Chicago Bulls video regardless, and hopefully we'll be talking about more positives on the way. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.